Hey everyone, this is Stephen Strawn at Cast Iron Cookware, where you can find information to help you better collect, restore, and use cast iron cookware. Today I'm going to be talking about the kinds of utensils that you need to be using on cast iron cookware, and we're going to be doing that coming right up. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's purchased my product, Easy Beezy Cast Iron Seasoning. The purchase of this product helps keep this channel going, and I just want to say thank you so very much. So let's get on into the video. I've heard many people say that you don't need to use metal utensils on cast iron. I've heard people say it's fine to use metal utensils, and I just want to clear that up. The big thing is how you use those utensils. Everybody's seen these plastic spatulas. They're really good for all kinds of cookware, not just cast iron. But I don't really like these things. They're a lot of times not stiff enough, and they don't have a good enough edge to get under things. And usually they get blunted, and they're just not really that good to use. Now, on my enamel cast iron, I will use something soft like this, or maybe even something like this one right here that's rubber, and you don't have any sharp edges that will dig in and cause staining on your enamel cast iron. Here's another one right here, and it's another metal covered in rubber, which is nice and safe on any type of cookware. Here's another big boy for something like maybe pancakes. This here will work good as well. It's metal covered in rubber. It's got a nice little edge, so I believe this here would work out pretty good. Another thing we have is a wooden handle. This works okay as well. It's got a nice sharp edge and a little bit of a bevel so you can get underneath some of the pieces. And it's rounded on the edge, which I think is a good idea. Cast iron, you don't want things to come out into a sharp point, because while you're going across the surface, you want to keep it level. And if you get up in an angle, those points, those corners can really mar up your seasoning if you bear down too hard. Now, granted, if you have a good hard seasoning, it's going to be harder to do that. One of my personal favorites is this little guy right here. Now, it's got some patina on it. I picked it up at an estate sale. It may have been 20 years old when I purchased it. It's a little bit bent, kind of small, wood handle. This thing is perfect for eggs, really, really thin, and got a nice, sharp, thin edge right here. I like it because it's rounded on one side, and it actually fits inside the small the skillet, and this little part does a job as well, especially on those that have a little bit more of a sharper angle around the inside edges. Now, I love this little thing, and I don't know if you can even purchase these anymore. I will look and see if I can find something similar to this and try to leave a link to it. Not really sure if I'll be able to find anything. Estate sales where you find your best things. I've got another one that I really love, and it's got a patina. I had somebody ask me, is that rust on that spatula you're using? No, it's old, and it's got a patina. I've even cleaned this thing with steel wool, and that patina is still there. And it is really straight. I don't like the ones that have a little bit of a curve to it. Got nice rounded edges. Now, when I'm making gravy, I like this and this because I can drag it around the edges and pull all the parts off the corners, and even this way and this way to pull the flour that has kind of splashed up and get everything back in the pan again. It looks like I'm being really harsh on the cast iron when I'm, making gravy, but all the little bits that stick, I will, go in there and drag it. Now, if you go this way, you'll wind up shooting it across the room, but I'll drag it and bring it back and may even go underneath it. And I do a lot of scraping with this one right here and with this one. when making gravy. Both of these are great for gravy. Now, one like this, I just do not like at all. It's rounded over. You don't get a nice, connection. Now, I like being able to have a nice flat connection with a cast iron and use it to scrape things loose off of the cast iron. With it being rounded over like that, it's just not any good. I don't like this one at all. I don't even know why we have it. I should throw it out. But here's the plastic version with the rounded. I just don't like the rounded. I would rather have something that is straight, like this one, or these two. Even this rubber one is nice and straight, which makes it handy to break loose a fried egg. So once you get it kind of broke loose, it'll just slide all over the pan. Now, when I'm cleaning cast iron, I will use my little chainmail scrubber. And if you notice, it's a lot of little rings held together by a lot of little rings. No sharp edges at all, which makes it easier to bear down a little bit and not worry about hurting your seasoning, but it'll take up everything else. Now, I will not use this when it comes to cleaning my enameled cast iron because it will leave streaks. It's not taking up the cast iron, it just stains it a little bit. Maybe it's leaving a little bit of this metal behind. Same way with using my enameled cast iron. I don't like using metal spatulas on my enamel pieces. I would rather use a rubber or hard plastic on my enamel. Now, you can use metal, but you might find that you have a few little streaks where you've scraped it across the enamel surface. I know that a lot of you have seen pieces of cast iron with big utensil marks in the surface. I think what has happened there is people have made cornbread and went in with a knife and cut their cornbread or whatever kind of bread inside their cast iron. Now, you have a really sharp knife, it's going to work its way and scratch through the seasoning. I would suggest that you do not cut your bread or your cornbread inside the pan. The best thing to do is go ahead and dump it out on a cutting board or a plate where you can cut it and not mar up the surface of your seasoning. This is a big no-no. Do not cut your bread inside your cast iron. Now, it may not take the seasoning up, but it will leave stripes and scarring inside your seasoning. Not only that, you may start off with a very nice, sharp knife with a really good edge. A few times cutting cornbread, it's not going to be sharp anymore. And there's nothing worse than a dull chef knife. Another thing that you can also use a metal whisk. Now, this one right here is a metal whisk coated in rubber. This works great for a lot of things, but you can also use a metal whisk in your cast iron because there's no sharp edges. It's rounded, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can even use that in your enamel. You might get some staining, but if you're afraid to get staining, go ahead and get one like this that is made out of metal, coated in rubber, and then you won't have any problems at all. Long story short, you can use metal utensils on cast iron. You just have to be careful and not get carried away digging in with the corners. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it. And if you have, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I promise I'll keep more coming. And I just want to say thank you again for watching Cast Iron Cookware. Before we go, I just want to share something with you really quickly. In Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, it says, "Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend." I just want to say, share the word and be a blessing.